Coming up this week, I discuss what happens when you lose an engine over the Atlantic Ocean. Don't worry, it's not that complicated and it's truly safe, and we talk about it all the time. I venture out and get Tokyo hot honey chicken instead of my normal. It was a mistake. And I stumble upon the graffiti tunnel for the first time in London. I've been coming here for a year and I've never seen it. All right, let's get started. And hello, it is Tuesday, August 19th, 12:55 p.m. My report time is 2:10 p.m. I live 10 miles from the airport. Hello, my name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I'm a husband of a scientist, and I'm going to London. This fit a hole in my schedule, and it allowed me to double dip. So if you don't know, when I first got on the 777 last year, I went to London a lot. Like, I could only go to London because I was so junior. That's what I got. It is the most common destination on my aircraft from my base, maybe from my aircraft period. We have 4 to 5 flights a day from Dallas to London. It's a lot, right? So it's very frequent that we go there versus we have 1 flight a day to Tokyo, 1 flight a day to Rome. We have 5 flights a day to London. So we go there a lot. Now I said double dip because on my most recent trip, I got back on Sunday. It was to Milan, Italy. Well, due to some scheduling issues and contractual issues, on paper, I was supposed to get back Sunday evening after flying from Milan to JFK, then having just 50 minutes to go from JFK to depart LaGuardia. A computer made that schedule. It's not realistic to go from the flight deck in JFK over to LaGuardia, or clear customs, go over to LaGuardia, and be on the airplane even within 40 minutes. Because the door closes 10 minutes before departure. Well, that was the last flight they could fit in my schedule to be contractually compliant, to have less than a 16-hour duty day. So, to be contractually compliant, they had to put me on a flight the next day. Well, the next day, I was supposed to go to Madrid from Dallas, right? I could not deadhead in and then go to Madrid. That's impossible to do, duty day-wise and just logical-wise, right? So they had to pull me off my Madrid trip. But because it was their fault that this happened, they had to pay me for Madrid. Now, someone's going to say, well, Darren, you picked up this Milan trip. Not really. I had a generic bid in, meaning I told the airline I wanted a 3-day trip, more than 16 hours, no more than 2 legs per day, and no more than 2 duty periods. Why 16 hours? Well, that pushed out for me going to Hawaii. I don't want to go to Hawaii. Everything else that we do on my airplane that's a normally scheduled flight is more than 16 hours. That was my aim. Well, when they or a computer made this trip, it was assigned to Dallas. The computer ran it. It matched my ballot parameters, and it gave it to me. So I didn't do this on purpose in order to cause an issue, right? So anyway, so they paid me for my Madrid trip. So I was home all day yesterday, and I asked my wife, "Hey, is there anything going on this week that I need to be home for?" She said no. I said, "Well, do you mind if I do this double dip thing?" She went, "Go for it." So I'm being paid my 20 hours for Madrid yesterday, and this London trip, they had 2 Londons, Paris. They had 4 Londons and a Paris open today. The Paris was also an IOE trip. I'm on an IOE trip, but I couldn't hold it. It was actually a buddy of mine was flying it. He's the IOE, but I couldn't hold it. Somebody senior got it. But this other trip opened up to London. This is the trip I used to like. 7-3, because it leaves early in the afternoon, and we leave at 3:10. Get there just past midnight Dallas time, and we get back at noon on day 3. Of course, getting back at noon on day 3 means we're up at midnight, 11 p.m. Dallas time coming back. But it's a nice trip. So I saw it and went, I'll give it a shot. So I put a bid in for it, and I got it. There are a total of 3 FOs, 2 relief pilots, an FO, and a captain. I'm the first relief pilot. I prefer to be the other relief pilot, but I couldn't hold that one either. So London it is. I have not been to London in over a month and a half, 2 months. I actually need to go because I have a cell phone plan that is in the UK, and I'm supposed to be using it every now and then. And they sent me an email saying, you've been using a lot of, I can roam over in Europe, but said you need to use your phone in the UK as well. I'm like, okay. So it's only $10 a month. I carry 2 cell phones. Why? Because I like Android and I like iPhone. And my iPhone is my primary carrier. My primary phone is on T-Mobile. My Android is on Boost Infinite, and I get Boost Mobile now. It's $25 a month, but it's just basic coverage, so I can use it, but no international coverage. So by having this UK SIM, I can use it anywhere in Europe. If I go to Japan or Asia, then I do something else. Anyways, should be a very nice London trip. The high tomorrow is 70 degrees in London, so not too hot. Right now it's 102 degrees in Dallas. So it'll be a nice change of pace. I have had a lot of relief pilot trips this month. Last time I landed a plane was from Paris, and that video hasn't even posted by the time I made this on this trip. So, yeah. But next month, in theory, I have lots of FO trips. So, all right, let's go park in Terminal D. The problem with my report time is 2:10. At 2 o'clock is a big shift change for a lot of the ground personnel, so the parking lots get really full. So I am a little bit early. Right now it's 1 o'clock. I'm already on airport property. I'm a little early because I want to make sure I get a good parking spot. So, all right, let's park the car, and survive the employee bus, and head inside. One more thing. People ask me about what kind of protein drinks I drink. I found a new one at Costco. Genius Gourmet Sparkling Water. It is a blueberry raspberry lemonade, 30 grams of protein drink. It's very, very sweet. I think it's too sweet. At home, I cut them with club soda, but it's a nice alternative to the creamy ones. Because it's hard for me to find lactose-free protein drinks, but this is a nice alternative. So, all right.
And in case you didn't know, yeah, see how I'm bouncing around? The roads at DFW Airport for the employees are absolutely horrible. For the executives, they're fine. Why? Because, well, we are blue collar workers and they are not. Anyways, parked my car in the employee lot. I parked in a little different spot than I normally do because, again, I got here a little earlier, so I got a pretty good primo spot. And this lot hasn't always been employee parking. It used to be something else, and they repurposed it, and they didn't really fix it at all. It's just been deteriorating. This crosswalk makes no sense to cross all the way over there and then cross. Everyone crosses in the middle. Yeah, I'm breaking the rules. Waited for the employee bus. It eventually came. Thankfully, it was a better kind of bus. They have a school bus style of bus, which is I think is not safe for crew members because it involves very steep steps. But this old gray bus is just fine. You can slide off. It's supposed to tilt sideways for people with luggage. They never do it, and it's kind of an inconvenience. Anyways, walk inside Terminal D as I always do, and I always enter at the International Arrivals Hall. And it's I enter there, and then I always exit through those doors over there. I head upstairs, and to this day, it wasn't super busy. Again, it's so much different on each time of day how busy the security is for Terminal D. Sometimes it's crazy busy. Other times, there's no one here. Weird, right? I was able to clear KCM this time, so cleared KCM, and I headed down to the crew room because this was an IOE flight, and I wanted to talk to the captain and see what he wanted me to do or not do. If it's the pilot's very first time on the airplane, they do the full tour of the airplane and they do all the setup and everything inside and outside. But this is like their second or third flight. Maybe they want us to do the normal stuff. So talk to the captain. This was the FO's second trip, so he wanted us to do just the basics up front, and I headed on to the airplane. Now, as far as my time on the airplane, as of this flight, I had 37 landings and 631 hours of flight time, and that's not like time on the airplane. My airline looks at every single flight. If it's a 3-person crew, I get 2/3 the flight time. If it's a 4-person crew, I get half the flight time. So that's how much time I have based on how many people I have on the aircraft as far as the crew members go. Head over to the gate. I was a few minutes early, so I took a seat, waited for the gate agent to arrive. Then I was able to head down to the airplane again, 777-300, the most common aircraft going to London from my base. This little closet in front of the flight deck is where I store my luggage. It's for me and the other relief pilot, because again, I am the FB. That's just a term my airline uses. There's FO, FB, FC. FB sits in the seat right here. The FC sits in the seat furthest across the flight deck. That seat isn't as comfortable as the FB seat is. So there's that, but then there's also storage under that seat. So there's perks to both. Then took a moment to open up the iPad EFB and check the weather and routing over to London. I want to see how much turbulence there's going to be, especially for my break time and the ride and weather in general. Once done, I decided to go ahead and head upstairs to the loft and make the beds. Now, this video here is from Freddie Sherman, Luxury Fred on YouTube. He took a video of a 777-300, I believe from China Eastern, but it's similar to ours. It's almost identical. So there's two chairs. They do lean back. There are TV screens. You can't see them on the outboard of each seat that we can watch the same movies you can watch downstairs as a passenger. Of course, there's fire extinguishers. There's PBEs, portable breathing equipment, and then of course the beds in the back. And there's lots of bedding here. We get more than this actually. We get a ton of bedding. But there's a curtain that blocks all noise and light. We can't hear anything at all. Each side gets their own thermostat. So you can be hot or cold, however you want. And then push where the seats are is just one thermostat. So there's actually three different temperature zones up in the loft. It's a very comfortable area. I much prefer this over our 777-200s. So here we are in flight on our way to London, and we're approaching 30 West, which is the kind of a midpoint across the Atlantic Ocean. We go from Gander to Shenwick as far as the ATC controlling facility. And as we go across the ocean, we're always looking at where we can go in case of emergency. Again, for an engine fire or something that's real serious, or a medical emergency, or maybe even just a mechanical issue. Where can we go? And so right now, you can see the alternate screen is up, and the nearest airport is Keflavik. Now, it will be there at 2349 Zulu. Right now, it is 2221 Zulu, and that's with two engines operating, right? That's an hour and 20 minutes to get there with two engines operating. It's pretty far away. And again, that's the nearest airport. It might not be the nearest suitable airport because maybe they have some crazy winds or a snowstorm or heavy rain. Maybe we can't get in there, right? So we're always looking constantly, about once an hour at least, on the current weather conditions everywhere around the airplane. Now, this is my 18th time, probably like my 10th time trying to make this video. I'll try it across X-Plane 11, X-Plane 12, Flight Sim 2024. This is Flight Sim 2020. So I'm just setting up, cruising the airplane. I'm supposed to play level 320 as far as my cruise, so I'm putting 320 in there just to cruise out the airplane. Now you can see there's an optimal, a max, and a recommended. Optimal is just excluding all the weather conditions what the plane thinks we should be at. Max is how fast we can, how high we can fly with the current conditions. Recommended is taking into account all of the current situation with the airplane. Now, if I lose an engine right now, I have to go down to flight level 230. That's the highest I can hold on one engine. Recommended is flight level 210. Something to keep in mind. Again, we can't hold 320 or even 350 or 340, whatever it is, with just one engine operating. So we're always keeping an eye on how low we have to go. And there are certain rules we have to follow as far as if something happens. So if we were to have an issue where we can't hold our altitude anymore, out here over the Atlantic Ocean, we are asked to turn 30 degrees off our course, left or right, depending on where we're going, and then don't descend until we're at least 5 miles off the course if possible. Now, the whole time we're across the Atlantic Ocean, air traffic controllers are watching what we're doing. They can see every button I press on my FMS. They can see everything I have set up on my autopilot control panel. If I stray from the course or even start to stray from anything normal, we will get an almost instant phone call on our satellite phone and or a message from CPDLC, kind of like a text message asking, hey, what are you doing? So we're watched very closely because again, as we go across the Atlantic Ocean, we're all sometimes stacked vertically 1,000 feet apart, and we're on the same highway. So they want to make sure we are in the spot where we're supposed to be, and if we're not, what is going on? Now, that lower screen on a 777, it's blank right now. And it's normally blank unless something pops up to let us know something is amiss. That's how we have it set up. That confused me at first, being a Airbus flight pilot. Like, why is that screen always blank? That should have something on it. But that's how Boeing set it up. Another thing I had to get used to is the lack of engine gauges. Like, I have these giant GE engines, and I only have 2 gauges being shown right now anyway. It just took getting used to. It is what it is. I can see the full complement of gauges if I want to by pressing the engine button, but this is how we normally fly around, with the bottom screen blanked out. If something were to pop up, that would mean something isn't normal. So we're flying along. Life is grand. We're looking out at the stars, looking up at Starlink, all the satellites up in the view, which we can actually see. And wait, look, the lower screen popped up. Something is amiss. But I see nothing red. Why would it just pop up random data? Well, it's the left engine oil quantity. We're down to 3 quarts of oil. That's no bueno. I'm going to borrow the right side, the FO side, ND, to go to the non-normal checklist. We have electronic checklist on the 777. And let's find out what's going on. How can I fix this low engine oil quantity? I'm playing stupid. There is no unenunciated checklist for a low engine oil quantity. Well, let's go to the enunciated checklist. I see nothing about low engine oil quantity. Good. Being of sound mind, what would happen if you had a low engine oil situation? Well, you're probably going to have a high oil temp at some point, and you're probably going to have at some point have to shut the engine down. So we're going to start thinking about that mindset again. Again, how high can we? How low do we have to descend? Level 210, right? We're at 32. So in real life, we'd be go ahead and probably turning off the course and alerting the controlling facility that we have an issue and we'll probably have to divert somewhere. But let's play the game here. And as you can see, oil temp is rising. It's in the amber and it's in the red now. And look, we have electric gen off left. That was the first checklist that popped up, right? So we're going to run that one first. And we're trying to reset the engine generator. So it says left generator control switch off, then on. So I reach up, press it off, and then back on, seeing if it tripped for some weird reason, right? It did not blank out. Bummer. Message is still displayed. It is. Now it's telling me to start the APU. Again, the plane consents when I do things. When I go to start, that little checklist item will go green. And now the checklist is complete for the electric gen off left checklist. Now we'll run the checklist for the engine oil temp left. Condition, the engine oil temperature is high. Left auto throttle arm switch off. We confirm that this is the correct one to do between both pilots and we shut it off. It sensed it. Left thrust lever, confirm and move it. So we confirm that that is indeed the left thrust lever and we're moving it to the mid position. Why? To help hopefully cool down the engine, right? But we know it's not going to cool down because it has no more oil. It's still running though. Pretty good engine running on no oil indicated anyway. Now it's asking is the temperature below the red line limit? It's not. It's not going to be. I'm going to hit no just to get this situation going. Left thrust lever confirm idle. Again, we confirm that that is the correct thrust lever. Down to idle. The plane sensed it. It turned green. Left fuel control switch confirm cut off. We confirm that it is indeed the left fuel control switch, and we move it to cut off. Again, the plane can sense it. APU. Now, it should have already realized the APU is already started. I'm not sure if it's a simism or the real plane, but I'm going to go ahead and go to start again. It won't hurt anything. It's just an electronic switch. The plane is smart enough to not to start it again. Transponder to TA only. And I have to do this twice because I messed up. The first time I moved it, it didn't actually move. So I'll go up and look. The plane didn't sense it. Crap. And then come down and there. TA only. That means it's going to tell me about traffic situation, but not have how to respond to it if you have a impending collision. That's all on me. Now, the plane could not sense that the engine has failed. I'm telling the engine is out now. And I'm going to go ahead and put in flight level 210 and go ahead and start turning 30 degrees off my course. I'm already slowing down because again, in real life, we would turn 30 degrees off the course, but I'm operating as a single pilot on this flight sim today. You can see how far off of my course I am on the ND, right below my little triangle. Oops, that was my fault because this is the time I've done this. You can see it says 0.2 L. I'm 0.2 nautical miles left of my course. I need to get, if I can, to 5 miles left of course before I start descending. And again, in real life, they would have already been, the ATC controlling facility would have already been contacting the airplane and asking, hey guys, what are you doing? Right? I'll go ahead and push in the altitude knob to do a VNAV descent at the best single engine descent speed, which is 263 knots. Now you'll notice on the center screen it has some magenta text, level 320, 200 knots, 270 knots. That is if I want to restart the engine. That's the best envelope to restart the engine. That's not possible. Going down with the checklist, land near Civil Airport, yes. Landing using flaps 20, yes. Ground prox flap override, switch to override.
that will give that's telling the system to not warn me about landing with less than normal flaps, basically. And that's the end of the checklist. So that is an abbreviated situation of what happens if we lose an engine over the Atlantic Ocean, and kind of how Boeing wants us to handle. Boeing and the controlling air traffic facilities want us to handle the situation. Thankfully, this did not happen. Modern aircraft engines are incredibly reliable. The flight went normal. We landed normally in London. All right, let's continue on with our normal situations. So after clearing immigration and all that fun stuff, we hopped on the bus to head over to the crew hotel. Again, we take the same routing every time we leave the London airport, and I'm mostly awake for it. I always try to stay awake to see the big Emirates Airbus 380 on the exit, and I always check Google Maps to see just how long the drive will take. Sometimes it's 25 minutes. There's accidents on the M4. It can take, I had over an hour and a half to get to the hotel. Those days, it's pretty miserable. But I have learned to use the restroom before leaving the airplane because I know how long the drive could be. This drive wasn't too bad. We pulled up to the hotel right at 8:15 a.m. Our rooms were thankfully quite already ready. Went up to the hotel room, and now for the debrief. Oh, I am exhausted. Not start a workout. It is 8:26 local, 2:26 a.m. in Dallas. I'm tired. Yeah, London. Good thing it was an IOE flight, right? So the FO, this is his second trip. He did Narita first. First time on 300, former 7.3 FO. Um, normal IOE flight, for him. Departed Dallas, made the breaks. The captain wanted half and half breaks. That's on me. Up early. Everybody up. He wanted to be the FO and him to be up early because it's new. First time the FO coming to London, right? So we had the break in time was earlier than normal. That's fine. This time worked for me. We had about 3 hours and 40-ish minutes per set of pilots. So went back up to the bunk upstairs, and man, I forgot how nice those bunks were compared to our 200s. But I slept really well. Like, I slept for a good 2 hours and 40 minutes before I woke up. And this is at 4 in the afternoon, but I'm good at making myself sleep. Yeah. So, I went up front. I was in the captain's seat. Other FO had been on the airplane about 6 years, the other relief pilot. So he was in charge. Boring crossing. And normally, just for reference, if this was a 3-pilot crew, which it normally is, a non-IOE flight, you have about an hour less break per person. You're like 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 or 30 minutes per person. So, but extra bonus break. We'll have an even longer break on the way back. Coming into London, we did our threat forward briefing. I said, hey, you might hold, you might not hold. The constant descent approach isn't that big of a deal. Keep your eye on the approach, the glide slope thing. And sure enough, came to the south side and didn't hold. We were turned, almost like 90-degree turn, then another 90-degree turn to 180 degrees, and then brought in. It all happened very quickly. He did the normal 737 to 777 pilot things that everyone does. You go from a 73 to a 777. A lot more movement of the yoke than you need. We made a very good landing though. Got into the gate and done. We made a little bit of money on this leg because the taxi out of Dallas was longer than anticipated. I think we went over about like 27 minutes. So there you go. Now I'm gonna go to sleep because I'm tired. Yeah, I'm tired. All right, sleep. Now I'm a creature of habit. I eat almost the same thing in every city I go to. In London, my go-to is Maru Game. It's ramen noodle kind of thing. I got this hot chicken. It was like Nashville hot chicken. It was okay. It's not what I normally get, but it was food for my food hole. Then hopped on the London Underground, which you can see outside right now, but it is underground. And one thing I do to assess how tired I am, I play solitaire. So I figure if I can play a solitaire game decently without having too many hints, then my alertness is okay. I do this a lot. Like when I'm on break, on the bus going to and from the airport, this is my am I really alert kind of thing. But get up at my stop and I head up to my
go-to area for London, the Westminster Bridge. Why? I don't know. When I first started coming to London, I came out here and I people watched. I watched people play that silly three-card money, find the ball, find the ball, find the ball game, and get ripped off. And I find humor in that. That grown adults think this is a really winnable game. So I've been coming here ever since. Nice day. I will say the people playing that game have gone down on this bridge. However, they are still playing it on the Jubilee Bridge, which is the bridge just down from here. Anyways, I always go to the London Eye, the big wheel here. Why? Because there's a restroom, a public restroom that you can just get into without paying any money. So I always go inside and use the restroom if I need to. Otherwise, I just sit down and people watch for a bit. Again, it's a nice day in London. A little bit cool, but nice change from the warm, not quite hot weather in the FNW. I then went for a walk and tried to go somewhere new that I haven't been in London, and that was under the Waterloo Station, where they have a legal 24/7 graffiti space where anyone can go in and just use their spray paint to paint on the walls. And there was a lot of graffiti inside. Every wall, every surface for the most part, except for where I'm walking, was covered in graffiti, and some of them were absolutely amazing to look at. I mean, even the ceiling, right? And as I went down this tunnel, even on the breakouts, there are other rooms that had graffiti inside. It's pretty unique, right? I mean, they're giving people a public space to just show their art. And I think it probably reduces graffiti, hopefully, elsewhere in London. But it's also a nice tourist attraction, and it's a great way for people just to express their, artistic creativity by spray painting on the wall in a public area. And while I was coming down here, there are people actually actively spray painting on certain parts of the wall, especially towards the exit of the tunnel. But somewhere new I've never been to in London. Again, I've been coming here for over a year, so enjoy the beauty of the graffiti wall, graffiti tunnel here in London. Now, upon exiting the tunnel, I found this street full of places to eat, and they're all wrapping up because it's after lunchtime. But this is somewhere I might come in the future if I arrive in London and I'm not super starving and tired and just want to get up and find something to eat. I might come down here because they had tons of restaurants that you could eat either on the street or inside the restaurant, and a wide variety of food. Again, I'm not a huge food person, but I do like trying new things every now and then. But I got all my steps in and headed back across the bridge to go back down into the London Underground to head back to my hotel area. And here's something kind of funny. So when I first came to London, I assumed that only one line ran on each track. So I would come through here and say, "Oh, it's the district line or the circle line." Go down to the that track, right, and just hop on the next train that came. Yeah. No, that's wrong. I had to actually read this lights on the sign on each train to make sure it was the correct line and endpoint of that line. Something I'm not really used to from subways in America. It's only one line and just one endpoint on each end. Not so in London. Anyways, went back to the hotel area, did some grocery shopping, and my go-to groceries for almost every overnight: orange juice, papaya if I can find it. If not, some kind of fresh fruit, protein drinks because I like to have just regular protein drinks. I prefer lactose free. That can be kind of hard to find, and then just general salty snacks. So got all that. Headed back to the hotel. Again, one thing I love about technology is it's very rare nowadays. I actually get local currency out. In fact, I haven't had local currency beyond, I think, Buenos Aires in a long time. Anyways, head back to the hotel, and now for a quick discussion.
And it is 6:43 p.m. local, and it is almost bedtime. Finished editing, not editing, making the thumbnail for the Rome video with the whole scam artist and eating ice cream and everything else. And it's set to auto post tomorrow at 1:45 or 1:30. So I should be home before then, as long as you don't get delayed. Yeah, London. I haven't been here in a while. I did get an email from my cell phone provider that I need to use my phone in the UK in order to avoid fees. So glad I'm back here. But bedtime and early van tomorrow. I will not be doing my hair. All right. I go to bed around 8 o'clock tonight. All right, let's go. It continues.
All right, good morning. And the good news is the inbound plane is coming from New York and it's on time. I say New York because there was some weather yesterday in the United States, and Lots of flights were delayed out of Dallas, but my plane is coming from New York. Um, Also, kind of interesting, we're very lightly loaded. Guessing the back to school is going on around around the world, I guess, because we are like 1/3 full. Yeah, but good night's rest. Didn't sleep the whole night through, but I slept very well. I'm not exhausted right now, so that's a good thing. I did buy way too much stuff for breakfast. Um, yeah, so I already had one protein drink. I'm gonna have this one on the way to the airport, and I still have. I'm gonna pack this one, and the problem is with this one is a sparkling one. I also have my Red Bull. I'm hoping they'll let me through security with 2 drinks. We'll see. If not, this will be very annoying. But yeah, let's go deal with stupid London security. And we all piled in the bus and headed to the airport. Again, we most of the time we discuss the flight, kind of a pre-flight briefing on the way to the airport. The captain goes over everything, any security issues, weather issues, um, MELs, that's not working on the airplane, that kind of thing. And there's the Emirates 380 again, and security. So it was an experience this time. It really reminded me why I hate London. It was not pleasant at all. Again, I am an airline pilot. I've been doing this for 17 years, and London is by far the most difficult security of anywhere I fly in the world. I have been packing my bag for 17 years as an airline pilot. Only when I go to London do I have to change things because they hold us to the same liquid rules as passengers. Versus everywhere else in the world, I can have more than 3.4 ounces. And only in London does my Apple Watch beep. Only in London does my ID beep. Saying it was frustrating is putting it mildly. This is why I don't like coming to London. The city is fine. The airport operations are fine. The controllers are fantastic. It's just security. Anyways, made it to the flight deck, and thankfully we were able to leave early because we weren't that full. And here I am sitting in the FB seat after the flight. I want to show you what our Oceanic clearance looks like. It's different than the normal IFR clearance. So we took this after the flight. You can tell because I'm holding the folder. All the check marks are there. Anyway, I promise you I'm on the ground after the flight, and we're just going to throw everything away. Anyways, you see cleared to DFW via Sunat random route. So we're not on a defined track, so to speak. Then it has the latitude longitudes all the way across the ocean. Then the exit point is Bakhto. We're entering it at Sunat. And then we have to maintain flight level 320, Mach 0.83. And ATC level change means we asked for a different flight level, but they gave us flight level 320. Okay, here's the same photo just to prove that I'm not in flight. The fuel levers are shut off. All right, headed out the door. Again, clear security in Dallas. Very fast, very quick. Headed out the door onto the sketchy employee bus. And now for the post-flight debrief.
Okay, it is 12:26 p.m., meaning it's just, I think, 6 minutes after our official arrival time, and I'm already in the car. So the trip. Here's what I will say. The car's not coming around the corner. Let's not hit me. Hi. Here's what I will say. So you get a good spot. You're welcome. Um, the trip is easy. The easiest trip of this airline on this fleet is a 4-person crew to Europe. Period. I guess Hawaii could be easier, but we don't really do 4-person cruise to Hawaii, but 4-person cruise to Europe. So, left the hotel on time, everyone on board. And I say that because there was a time where we left the hotel early and we forgot a flight attendant at the hotel. They made it to the airport before we did. Anyways, security. Why I hate London. So we get to security, and I haven't been there in a while, right? So I pick out all my liquids in my little plastic bag, and my electronics were all separate. Took off my watch, which only beeps in London. Fine. Problem is, on my ID, I have these keys, right? And those keys beep only in London. I'm serious about that. Other countries, they don't beep. So I approached the scanner. I show the gentleman 3 feet away, here's my ID. Come on through, sir. I will not come through. If I come through, I'm going to beep and I don't get secondary screening. So I'm showing you my ID right now. But you have to show me your ID. I said, I understand. So I'm showing you my ID now. I'm going to go through. I'm putting my ID in the bin. If you want to, you can see it again. Okay. So I go through and I don't beep. His associate, a woman, says, "Where's your ID?" I said, "I just showed him my ID. I beep if it goes through. I need to see your ID." I went, "I understand you need to see my ID. It's in the bin. If I have my ID on, I beep." "Okay, show me your ID." And I couldn't touch any of my, it was in my third bin. Couldn't touch any of my bins until she saw my ID. So I hold my ID in my hand. I say, "Here's my ID." That wasn't good enough. She made me walk back to the scanner, stand by the scanner. She had to hold my ID up to the light. It's pretty bright in there. And said, "Okay, you're good." And I just laughed like, "Is it better lighting over here that you have my ID over here?" She didn't laugh. And there were people that had even more problems than I did. The gentleman ahead of me, my FC, had more problems with his ID because he also beeps, right? So he put his ID in a separate, he took it off the thing and held it for them and said, "Here's my ID." And they said, "No, we need to hold your ID." I said, "Why do you need to hold my ID? It's right here, inches from their face." Um, that's all I'll say. Then our gate was 318. We had a long walk to the gate. We could have gotten there faster, but they refused to let us go this other way, so we had to go a longer way. And it's kind of silly because you can't go the shorter way because there's no airline staff there right now. It's like we have to go a longer way because there's no staff. Whatever. Get to the gate. You're on the airplane. We're only 1/3 full, right? And from that point on, it was smooth sailing. We had to tell the new FO about the named waypoints and because we're taking off 9 right and the Compton departure, we can't do the RNAV. And one of you, actually more than one of you, who work in air traffic control in London told me because it's a DME issue and a turn issue for some other approach of why we can't do the RNAV off 9 right. You have to get a voice clearance and then figure out to the 2 DME fixed and then turn right 220, which is almost exactly what is the RNAV, but whatever. We were all boarded, ready to go 35 minutes early because we were only 1/3 full. And now the station wants us to leave early. Like, hold on, and not rushing us out the door. We haven't got our clearance yet. And again, it's a new hire in the right seat. Not new hire, sorry. That's a new hire. A new pilot in the right seat. Not new hire. So the instructor airman rightfully said, "No, we're slowing everything down. We're doing everything as we normally would at a normal pace." Which is good, right? You don't want to rush somebody new to the seat. It's the first time leaving London. Second time on 300. And it's different. So we took our time. We discussed all the threats. Da-da-da. Got our clearance. Da-da-da. Then we pushed back 5 minutes early. Plenty of time. We got out and taxied straight out. Took off. All normal. Climbed up. And our break times on the return were right at 4 hours each for a set of pilots. 4 hours. It's a long time. And so I made the bunks in Dallas. The FC made the bunks in London, and he made them he made them a very comfortable way, but it's a lot of extra work. I might take his procedure for my future bunk making. They're very comfortable, but it uses a lot of blankets to do it. But I went up to my bunk. I didn't sleep right away. It took me about 45 minutes to fall asleep. Out of my 4 hours, I probably slept for about 2 hours and 45 minutes, which is still a long time to sleep, like actual real sleep, not moving around. In fact, we slept across the entire Atlantic Ocean. So we didn't come up front till we were over Canada. Hopped in the captain's seat, and because I was pilot monitoring there, I was flying my way back. FC took the pilot monitoring duties, and we just chilled. We did fly a little faster, so they didn't get a full 4-hour break. They got maybe a 3-hour and 40-minute break. We got here early, of course. And coming into Dallas, we got 3-5 center. Yeah, the new FO, he made small, he did fine. he had a habit of setting the speed below the flap handle, which we don't do on a 777. Maybe we did it on a 7-3, but not on a 777. Beyond that, he did a great job, made a good landing on 35 center, but that's London. I'm glad I went because I had to get my SIM card renewed via service over there anyway. Yeah, I can be done with London for a while. I can be done for a while. It's all the security. It just ruins the entire experience. The security ruins the entire experience. But what else? I'll talk about the meals. So, because it's an early flight, I got breakfast on the way here. Then I got a lunch snack. It was a cheeseburger. I had just a burger. I didn't have the sides because I wasn't that starving. The breakfast was, we call it potato carbs. It was banana bread with the super sweet syrup and a super sweet banana topping with fruit and a lemon custard dessert and a croissant. So I had about maybe 1/4 of it because it's a lot of carbs. And that is it. Easy trip. Send it over to Darren to wrap it all up. Thank you.
So that was London. And if I have to go to London or choose to go to London, I prefer it to be an IOE trip, a training trip for a new pilot. And if I could be any position, I want to be the second relief pilot, because that position, even though we do the same job, they do less, so to speak, because they're in the corner and they can't see very much or do very much in that corner seat. But hey, otherwise, I was the first relief pilot. It's still an easy gig. It's a super easy gig. Because again, of the 19.5 hours, so to speak, of flight time there and back, I was only up front. It was less than half that time actually doing something, right? So it's a pretty good gig to get paid to not have to do so much. Anyways, London is a great city. Love the city. So much culture, so many places to see and do. I like London. Very easy to get around when the tube is working properly. But it is the security at the airport that ruins the entire experience. It's like Charlotte, North Carolina. Great city. Wonderful city. The ramp at the airport ruins it for me, right? So it's just one little portion that can ruin an experience. And again, as a passenger, you don't really deal with a ramp. I guess you do. I'm getting off on a tangent. London ATC, you are fabulous. The tower people are very efficient. Departure, arrival, very efficient. It's just the stupid security that ruins it for me. And again, I only got the trip because of the issue with the previous trip to Milan. And before people start commenting, because people on the internet are weird, not you, but you. When I had that ballot in for that generic trip, I wanted a 3-day trip. If I had gotten a normal European 3-day trip, I would have left on Friday, come back on Sunday afternoon, gone home for over 24 hours, and then had time to do my Madrid trip. I was fully ready to work 6 days in a row, but because of the circumstances and the contract, I couldn't. And again, the contract is there to protect not just the company, but to also protect the pilot from working too much and working themselves to death. So it cuts both ways, and in this way, it came in my favor this time that I was able to double dip, get paid for the Madrid trip I didn't have to do, and this London trip that was super easy. But good trip overall, and I will go to London one more time, but I think it's next month. I'm trying to get caught up. I don't film every single trip, so I'll quickly get caught up to maybe being like 2 weeks behind versus being a month behind like I am right now. Anyways, as far as my compensation for the trip, we did go over block just a tad. So my total compensation for the trip was $59.23.30 for my hourly wages. I was paid $97.25 for my international pay. It's something my airline does. Per diem was $187.22. And my 401k contribution, again, my airline put an amount equal to 17% of my income into my 401k every single month. I have exceeded the 401k contribution limits for the year per IRS, so I have an additional $1,006.97 added to my bank account for this particular trip. It's a very good benefit to have. My name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I am a husband of a scientist. If you don't mind, please click subscribe, drop a comment, click like. Have a great day, and as always, thank you for stopping by.